What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. You made it. It's the Friday Live with Lauren show. I'm Lauren, if you couldn't tell from that right there. It's so good to see you guys. It is the second Friday in December. We are winding down 2024. Are you guys ready? Whoa, my nails are the same color as my blazer. I just realized that while we were live. Sorry, random ADD moment. Y'all, I have the GOAT with me today, the person who inspired me to really stay consistent on LinkedIn, and y'all, it changed my life. So I am so freaking excited for the guests we have today. But before I bring them out, I'm going to ask you if you would be such a friend, share the show. Some people don't know we're live. This guest is going to give you, you better be recording, get your notebook out. People need to be here to learn today. And then while I'm bringing him on, tell us where you're joining from. I know he and I will probably talk about where we're at today. So I want you to tell us where you're joining from. And y'all, are you ready? Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. It's Darren.
What's up, everybody? How are y'all? Good to see you. I don't have a hat on, so you probably don't recognize me, but I left it at the house, and you get me with my nice hair.
That's all right. We all need to know there's some hair under there.
Yeah.
And everybody sees you with your hat all the time. I know. I wear the blue blazer every Friday. Well, most Fridays. So everybody sees me in the blue blazer. But I am so excited to have you on the show. We have so much fun stuff to talk about today. Y'all, Darren picked every topic, and I know he's going to just give you so much information. Stop. The topics are great. Come on. The topics are amazing. And you and I can go back and forth on every topic you sent. So I didn't need to edit anything. I didn't need to change anything. Darren made my life so simple.
Week. That's what good guests do. We make ourselves not work.
All right, y'all. You always know the deal. You can ask questions in the chat. If Darren and I can answer them, we will if we have time. But y'all, we got 5 topics today instead of 4, so we're going to move quick. My other announcement is that we are not doing High Five Friday today. We are postponing it until next week. If you don't remember, next week is the mom show where Michelle and I are both going to have our moms come on the show. Yay. Go say hi to your mom. Send your mom some love. She did a lot for you when you were younger. But so we're going to hold off on High Five Friday until next week, and we'll somehow get our moms involved in that too. Maybe we'll make them read the high fives for all of you. And then very quickly, I got to shout out Sindoso. They are our official gifting sponsor, and they have made it possible all year long to give you guys some awesome gifts. I found out today that Darren actually has one of these gifts.
I do. Chapel Hill one has the little streets all over it. It's great. I love it. And a good glass of rye whiskey in there is just perfect.
Yes. And if you don't drink, you can put anything in it you want.
True.
It's a rock
water,
glass.
tea, coffee, Coke.
Anything you want. I'm on that Sprite Zero kick right now. But you can put your city, and your city will print the map on the glass. So I think that's really cool. Wherever this is shipped to, it's going to be totally customized for you. And you can enter to win that by commenting Sindoso. We're going to get that going for you in just a minute. While we're doing all of that, Darren, could you please be such a dear and tell us who is Darren McKee?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I have been connected with you for such a long time, and I've looked up to you for so long. And so I'm honored to be here too, just sitting here having a conversation with you. I know our DMs and our texts and our chats over the years have been super inspiring for one another. But who am I? I'm Darren McKee. I am married to Caitlin. I have 2 little kids. I won't say their names because I'm trying to keep them off of LinkedIn moving forward for a while. But they are amazing. They're 8 and 5. And I always start with that stuff because that's who I am at my core. If I'm not working, I'm hunting and out in the woods doing something fun with the kids. And for work, I am the founder of Darren McKee Co, where I help individuals and teams learn how to master the art of social selling in LinkedIn, and a lot of stops along the way before getting to this point. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. Yeah, when I first started following Darren was at Enterprise AE. This was in 2022. I think I started following you in March. Yeah. And by April, I was convinced to start posting every single day on this platform. It took me a month, but I was like, you know what? If he says that it's true, what is it? It's a year, and it's going to take me a very short amount of time to post. And then I got addicted, Darren. So
it's fun. It changed my entire life. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes, we will. Change mine too. But definitely, like, y'all, if you're going to start posting content and you find you enjoy it, I will let you know it's something that you will get a little addicted to in the beginning, but you will ride waves with that. So some days are going to be great. Some days you're not going to want to show up, but you got to just know what your end goal is and what you're showing up for. So, all right, we are going to get into it. Are you ready for the first topic?
Let's go.
All right. Topic number 1 today, everyone, is content and shocking the feed. Have
Yeah.
you shocked your feed lately?
You have to. All right. I love this. This is one of my favorite topics. So I've coached 537 people this year, which is awesome. The year before that, I coached no people. So that's a big feat for me. And anytime someone tells me something when I'm going through like one of these podcasts or a training or something like that, I'm like, who is this person and why are they talking to me? So created content like 1,730 something days in a row. So I have a lot of data and a lot of insight, and I actually missed a day last weekend on purpose because I was like, you know what? I've done enough. I'm going to take a break. And so one of the things that I want to talk to y'all about is content is good. There is fine content and there is great content. And we're in a very scroll-based culture. I have little kids. I grew up like on the applications and all kinds of stuff. And so the attention span of a person now is way lower than it used to be. And so 5 years ago, when everybody was like, all right, you need to look the same. You need to niche down. You need to make sure that like you are visible and everybody knows exactly who you are every single day. I do think there's a time and place for that, but I do also think you need to show up a little bit different on a weekly basis. So maybe it's a picture post one day, maybe it's a text-based post the next day, maybe it's something about ramen noodles on Wednesday, maybe it's something about sales and coaching on Thursday, and then on Friday you tie it back with a short form one-liner piece of content. I am always just trying to keep my audience on edge, because what I don't want is a bunch of the people that know me engaging with my stuff. If I start to notice that second degree connections aren't coming and third degree connections aren't coming, that's when I notice that like I'm in a vortex and I'm probably not going to get out of it. And so the only way to do that is to look different every single day, so you get different people around you every day.
Yes. And I want to know, if you're watching right now, how often are you checking your second and third degree connections, commenting? Like, do you pay attention if it's just your first degree connections? Are you even focused on this? Because I think a lot of people don't even think about these things, Darren. That's not even something that crosses their mind. They're like, look, it's my LinkedIn homies. They're showing up. Cool.
Yeah.
Does that really help you?
Not many people look at it. I would say 99% of the people don't. But here's the bigger part. They're never going to come to your content unless you go to theirs. Right. And so everybody's like, oh, I'm engaging with my tribe, or I'm engaging with my people. And I'm like, yeah, but like engage with not your people, because that's how you get more people. Right. And so like if you see a second degree connection, or heaven forbid, you see a third degree connection that drops some really good content, like engage with that stuff. Right. If a third degree gets you to a vast amount of people that have never, ever seen your face. Like I have 125,000 followers. There are hundreds of millions of people that don't know I even exist.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We think about us a lot more than other people think about us. It's just facts, y'all. I think you make a really good point in the fact that you have to seek out others. Yeah. How often are others finding you? One of the things that I focus on is when people register for the show, not everybody is going to be my first degree connection. Sometimes they're Darren's connections or whoever the guest is. I make a point to go connect with those people after the show and engage with their content. They found me, and now I want to reciprocate that. And then I find a bunch of amazing people through their networks that I never would have found had I not taken that step. So I think it's really important to focus on not just growing with your tribe and your homies that you know, but really stepping out of your comfort zone and continuing to grow, even when you get to the point where I think some people look at creators like you have 125,000 followers and I'm pushing 45. At that point, people are like, well, what do you mean you're growing? You already have all these followers. Y'all, we still have to run our business.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I think about too all the time is like everybody once was a second degree connection. So like we used to have no connections, and everybody, you're one connection away from your entire life changing. Truthfully, like Amen. One profile view, one handshake, one reaction, one comment, one post that like 5 people looked at, right? And so one of the things that I want to just like, I don't know that I necessarily inspire people, but like one thing I want to tell you like that I did early days, right? So when I started creating content in March of 2020, be like 3 people liked it. It was my brother and like my uncle, and then like somebody that just like felt sorry for me on my team. And then like a month or 2 later, like I got a post that had like 1,000 views. They used to call them views, by the way. 1,000 views. And I was like, I was down on myself. I was like, that's not really a lot. And then I went into Google and I typed in stadium full of 1,000 people. And I was like, wow, I've never spoke to 1,000 people before. And so that changed my perception of like, oh, if it's 1,000, 2,000, 800, 5,000, last year, 60 million people saw my content. That's a lot of people. But like it started with, stadium full of 800 people.
Yeah. It's funny because I do the stadium thing, and it's kind of to keep me grounded in almost a way. But and KJ, I just tagged him in the comments. KJ Johnson can literally tell you this. He's one of those connections on LinkedIn that changed my life. We're very close. But KJ and he's a person who I text when I hit a follower milestone or something. I'll just text him a picture of a stadium. And he knows what that means. I don't have to have any context. I don't have to say anything else. And I'll send him the picture. And I think I just sent him a picture of Citibank was what I sent him last week. So good. And I was like, I missed one, but this is Citibank and this is where I'm at now. And it's just those moments that it's cool once you get to that point to see it. But it's super humbling to realize that the stuff you're putting out resonates with that many people. And I'll be honest, I don't think all of mine resonates. I think I got some people who just follow me because they don't like me, but that's okay too.
Yeah, that's how you know you're winning, friend.
Amen. Okay, in terms of shocking the feed, if somebody's like, okay, Darren, you say switch it up and do different things, cool, I'm doing that. I'm really not getting what I want as a result. What do you say to them?
Yeah. So I do an audit with pretty much every single person that says that to me. They're like, Darren, I'm doing everything that you're telling me, but like, I'm just not getting any engagement. I go straight to their profile and I go straight to the little comment button. And I go to see what they're giving everyone else. And it's normally like 2 comments a day. And I'm like, yo, why would anyone engage with you? You're not doing anything. You're not giving to anyone else. So like, listen, you can be on TikTok and IG and YouTube and all the other platforms, and there's no reciprocity factor there. LinkedIn is really weird. And if you don't give to other people, then they don't give back to you. And so like, I make it a point. This is crazy. I've been doing this for 2 years. I send 50 DMs every single day. Okay. That's 50 people that are now going to see my content tomorrow morning. That's 50 people that are now going to show up in my feed. That's 50 people who I've like physically touched in a LinkedIn sense that like now might get to know me. And so like, I just try to see like, do they really want it? Like, are they doing enough? You can't just show up here and hope that it's going to happen. That's why Fortune 500 CEOs can't get engagement on the platform.
Yeah. You have to do more than the bare minimum. And the other thing I think I'll notice is I love that we're using AI for a lot more things, but y'all, we can tell the second you comment that it wasn't something that you wrote, or that it was that LinkedIn auto response comment, or you forget to take the parentheses off of the comment from copying it over, or it like literally rewrites our post in the comment.
And then ask the question at the end. Yeah.
I had somebody ask the question that I had answered in my post, and I wanted to say, well, if you read the post, but obviously I'm not going to.
Yeah. I've blocked like probably 60 people in the last 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of AI bots I'm finding, but I think LinkedIn is trying to crack down on those.
They're doing a good job. Listen, this is a growing platform. They're trying.
They're doing the best they can. And I'll at least say yesterday when I had a little issue, LinkedIn Help got back to me right away, which was so nice. It's really nice when the platform that you use for your business responds right away. What do you think about InMail? Andrew says InMail seems to be nothing but spam.
Yeah, fire cowboy hat. I grew up in Victoria. I love that. All right, so if I'm sending an InMail, I don't really send InMails that much, right? And so like I always tell myself, I'm in sales, right? So I'm a founder now, and I ask myself, do I have the right to send this DM to someone? And what I mean by that is like, have I engaged with their content? Have I studied up on them? Have I followed them? Have I ended up in their feed? If I think I've done enough, then I might send one or connect with them, right? And so, yeah, I mean, most InMails are garbage, right? Because we automatically think, oh, it's a salesperson with InMail credits, right? That's why I said like this morning in one of my posts, it's never been easier to set a first meeting. Everybody says this is the hardest time. It's the worst time for prospecting, the worst time for booking first meeting. It's the easiest time ever because there is 99% garbage. And so if you send a decent message, you're probably going to get a response.
Yeah. The guest I had on 2 weeks ago, he's the COO of Compass Group, or the CGO, I'm sorry, the Chief Growth Officer of Compass Group. Y'all, they're the 6th largest hospitality company in the world. And he came on the show. I sent him a cold DM in July. I'd read about his profile. I resonated with a bunch of things in his about section. I engaged with his content for a little bit. And I just straight up sent him I will say it was a very heartfelt DM. And it was one of those ones where sometimes I wonder if I'm going a little bit too far, but I'm like, no. Everybody else is sending that AI garbage. I don't care. No. So I could say what I wanted to say. And this is what made me reach out. Right. And it wasn't a business thing. I wasn't reaching out. I didn't pitch. It wasn't that. It was like, I genuinely think that you are someone that I want to learn from. I'm so impressed with you. Have 35 years at one company. Who does that anymore, Darren?
No. And it's the thing that I think about too, for anybody that's in sales, which is everybody, like, if you're prospecting a C-suite leader or a VP vice president, they didn't get where they were by doing what everybody else is doing. And so I tell this story all the time. One of my AEs, the company I worked for, my last company, was walking to the beach, surfboard, tank top on, in La Jolla, sent a message to a global chief learning officer. And the guy responded back in like 5 minutes, like, hey, thanks for not looking like everyone else. I'm down. Right? Like one of the biggest companies in the world that you all would know. And so like, it's me with my daughter on my hip, or it's me with a, glass of whiskey, or it's me walking to the beach. Like, just be normal.
Yeah.
And you're going to get responses. Don't put a suit on and stand in front of a video with a sign that says, hey, I'm Darren. Like that. No, that's weird.
That is weird. And when you email somebody, don't put their name in the subject line. They already know their name.
They know their name. Right. Yeah. It's strange.
All right. Speaking about email subject lines, let's get into the state of outbound sales.
Yeah. So everybody assumes, I get the question all the time. And so, I've scaled this business to like a really good point, and everybody's like, well, you get all inbound. Like, it's not fair. Like, everything just comes to you. Like, I'm probably 40% inbound. 60% of my business is outbound. And so I really I think about the intent that I'm seeing inside of my content, right? And so it's like, who's liking my post? Who's viewing my profile? Who's following my company? Who's engaging with my competition? Who are those second degree connections, and are they in my ICP, right? And so I'm always just trying to think about these things. And outbound, that's why I said I send 50 DMs every single day, because I know that 4 people are going to respond. If I do that the right way, it's 4 out of 20 right now. And so if I send 50, I'm getting 8 conversations, and I'm booking 4 to 5 meetings every single day. Right. But here's the thing. Everybody's like, all right, Darren, how do you templatize this? Or how do you scale this? And I'm like, I don't.
You don't.
Right. If it's the VP of sales at Sendoso, I'm not sending a garbage message to them. Right. I'm actually doing my research, and I'm spending 10 minutes, and then I'm sending them the right message. It might take me 2 hours to get to my 50. But if you don't have enough time to spend 2 hours prospecting every day, you probably got your priorities jacked up, and you need to learn how to delegate.
Oh, delegation. We didn't even say we were going to talk about that, but we can talk about that too. I think delegation saves you when you're in sales. I think people who can't delegate ultimately end up crashing and burning, because it's a lot to juggle, right? There is a lot to juggle, and you have to be able to understand what you can delegate and what you have to keep. But in terms of outbound sales, I know we're coming to the end of the year. We're at the point where everybody is hearing, let's circle back to next year. Yeah. What do you say to that right now?
Yeah, I've used the same question in Q4 for the last 4 years, probably. And the question I ask everybody that's in a buying cycle, or I've had a conversation with them, I say, hey, what happens if we don't do this till February? And normally they're like, wow, we'll be really behind. Yeah. And I just I pause a lot, right? And it's like, hey, what's going to happen if we don't do this? But I also don't pressure them, right? I need deals in Q1. Yeah. Right. And so it's totally fine. If they sign on January the 7th, great, we're good. And I don't think you're too late. If you're looking at an enterprise deal right now, you're probably too late. I'm just going to be honest with you. But like you might be able to find a Q2 close lost that was close. And listen, everybody's like, don't throw out discounts in Q4. Like, listen, throw out a discount in Q4 if you can get them in. Like, I am not going to be the one that's like, don't do that. But yeah, I mean, close lost, close ones from quarters before. I mean, it's you got to do what you got to do right now. And hopefully it's December the 13th and you're already at your quota and you don't have to worry about all this stuff. I never, ever wanted to be in the situation where I was trying to close a deal on Christmas.
That's kind of the worst place to be.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you're trying to close a deal on like right around Christmas and it does come through for you, it is the best Christmas present you'll ever feel in your entire work. Like, it's almost better than being like watching my kid open Christmas presents. Just kidding. But for real, when you've been waiting for something and it does come through right before the end of the year, that's an insane feeling. And I hope everybody maybe feels that one time.
Yeah. A lot of us, like some of us that are tuning in, work for like pretty large companies that have like an enterprise sales team. When I was at Better Up, I got really, really close to my deal desk team. And so whenever I couldn't figure out how to get a deal done, I sent them all in my notes and I'm like, hey guys, what do I do? And they're like, oh, this is exactly what we can do here. And it actually took me out of the conversation, right? And so anytime I could get like my CEO sending a message to the CEO of the company, 2 weeks before Christmas to get a deal done, like those deals typically got done. So you just got to think differently. There's not much you're going to do right now.
Right.
Just to be honest.
No, at this point, it's probably in the bag until Q1, but go ahead and keep it warm for Q1. Don't ignore it. And that's one of the other things I want to talk about moving through the holidays. What's the right way, in your opinion, to kind of follow up with your clients, keep engaging, but not be overbearing? Because a lot of people do want to disconnect during the holidays. And how do you ride that line?
Yeah, I mean, I always let them know, like anybody that's like I'm currently talking to or their early Q1 deal, I send them a message and I'm just like, hey, heads up, I'm taking off. I'm sure you are. Here's my cell phone number. If you need me, reach out. Right. Like I always go back to this. Let's just stop being weird.
Yeah.
Like, let's not try to get them to another meeting. Let's not try to give them something strange. Like, just be normal. Right. And so like, I hate the term commission breath, but like they can smell it from a mile away. Right. Yes. Like it is like, just like, hey, I'm taking off. They should, if you're taking off for 2 weeks and you're an enterprise AE, that buyer is going to look at you and be like, oh, he's already at his number. He's probably really good at sales. I'll give him a call on the first of the year and we'll get this deal closed. Like they can feel that. I shouldn't be trying to book meetings right now.
No.
Yeah.
No, at this point, I've pushed everything. We had our last hurrah at the very beginning of the week, and we're winding down and wrapping it up because other people want to wrap presents, or maybe they don't want to wrap presents. Maybe they have somebody else wrap their presents.
Yeah. The other thing that I'll tell you that I've been doing since my Better Up days, it's funny, Dalton's on here, and I think I mentioned this to him the other day, but so if I have a first call with an enterprise buyer, let's say I'm talking to the VP of revenue, after my first call at the very end, I'm like, hey, I know there are going to be times that you need me, and I know that there are going to be times where I need you. Are you cool if I text you versus like sending you an email? 99.9% of the time, they're like, dude, thank you so much. Yes, text is totally fine. So now we're December 13th. I can shoot that buyer a text and be like, hey, just want to tell you, Merry Christmas. And, we'll catch up with you here in a couple weeks. But it's text, it's different. Like, I've never closed a deal over 250K where I wasn't texting my buyer.
No. If you're not that close, there's probably something missing in your communication.
For sure. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime I would like look back at like, where did I mess up? Why did I lose this deal?
Uh-oh. Anybody else frozen but me?
No, we're back.
There you are. You're back. I was like, uh-oh. Okay. I don't know. It cut out. It's a Friday, y'all. I don't know if it's StreamYard or it's probably StreamYard. Let's say it's StreamYard.
Friday the 13th.
We're not going to blame. Oh, it is Friday the 13th. I just realized that. You just made me realize that. I've always found Friday the 13th to be like a good luck day for me. Like good things have always happened to me. And I'm kind of laughing at the people who are like superstitious about it. I'm like, no.
Yeah. But I think there's the moon's already out, Anyway, but yeah, outbound sales is like outbound so much fun. I think the problem right now is people have fallen out of love with sales, and you need to learn how to fall in love with it again. And I love sales.
Yeah, if you're not passionate, it comes across. And that's why I always tell people I work with job seekers for job search strategy coaching. And I always tell them if you're really looking for your next role and you want to find something that you want to stay with and you don't want to end up talking to me again in 9 months or a year, find something that you can sell that you're super passionate about. If you're super passionate about it, you're going to want to be there. You're going to want to make the call. You're going to, like, I'm passionate about helping you get a job, and you can feel that when we talk. You have to feel that way.
You can definitely feel it for sure. 100%.
Yeah. Elijah says, crazy how a little bit of effort can go so far.
Like the effort in that profile picture.
Yes. And Elijah also said his goal next year was to watch more of live events with me. So, Elijah, you're like my new favorite person on LinkedIn today. Thank you so much. And Micah showed up. Happy Froze Friday to you, but we're not frozen anymore. Thank the Lord. Sometimes I sit here and I'm like, oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. What am I going to say? It's fine. It's not a big deal.
I'll just act like I'm frozen just to like freak you out.
No, it's okay. We're not doing that. Oh, my mom showed up. Mom, you better come on next week for the mom show.
You should be so proud of your daughter.
Oh, thank you, Darren. Mom, Darren's the reason I started posting on LinkedIn. You weren't here earlier, so just so you know that. And Darren, my mom had to join LinkedIn when I started telling her that I was posting and all these things. So
that's Darren, great. My mom makes me just screenshot stuff and finds me on LinkedIn Lunatics. So,
well, I think you're actually like ultimately the reason my mom had to join LinkedIn. So we're gonna just push that one all the way back to you for the inspiration.
That's great. I love it. I'm sorry for this crazy addiction-driven place.
It's okay. When was the last time you were on LinkedIn Lunatics? Random question.
I'm on there all the time. Yeah.
I think I was on. I think it's been about a year for me. But the funny thing is people on Reddit don't realize how telling it is to figure out who the person is.
I think I know who runs the whole thing.
Well, I can figure out who's posting about me because then I go look at your page and you're like, I do this job and I'm this years old and I want to be this and this is my title. And I'm like, bro, I know exactly who you are.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I don't even care anymore.
Oh, that's how you know you made it, right? Like the first time I got on there, I was like,
bothers me and I'm like, meh. Whatever.
You can't let any of the negativity bother you. In my opinion, I had a post last week, had 500, I think it's up to like 575 comments now. I can't even read them all, nevertheless respond to them. You respond to every comment. I would not be able to do my job
anymore. Yeah.
But it's absolutely insanity when that happens. And it got to the point where like all of my DMs were flooded. I missed out on like actual work things. I literally was like, I just want to delete the post.
Yeah, I did that the other day. Actually, I deleted a post because I was like, I can't deal with this anymore.
Wow. Yeah. I had somebody DM me yesterday and they were like, how do you deal with the negativity? I just had to delete a post. And I was like, well, people are negative and they're showing the world they're negative.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's part of it. So
part of it. All right. Anything else about outbound sales before we get into one of my favorite topics? Oh, she's proud of me.
Yeah, no, I think we're good there. I mean, I think like, I don't know. Don't listen to everybody that's telling you like outbound's dead. Like it's like alive and thriving.
If you're passionate about it, you're going to do well. And if you're not passionate about it, nobody's going to buy from you.
Stop putting 500 people in sequences and hoping that it works for your life.
I can't remember the last time I ran a sequence.
I don't run them either. So, yeah, stop doing that.
I think the last time I ran a sequence was when I first started my agency. And that was because we had been using them at every agency I'd been at. And in my head, it was like, well, this is what we do.
Yeah. It's a weird situation.
No, I'm with Darren. Send the DMs. When I first started, I was sending videos. I don't think you should really do that as much anymore. Like I was 2 years ago, but DMs, like connect with people, engage with them.
Yeah, they take too long to send now anyway in the DMs.
They do take forever.
I use audio messages a lot. I audio message a ton of people. So
I do love a good audio message. Josh Bailey sends me some awesome audio messages via text. Okay, next topic. I'm super excited about this one. Becoming a founder. And I also want to hint at the fact that like Darren and I both did things before we're doing what we're doing now. So this isn't our first like dip into the kiddie pool. And it doesn't always work out. Sometimes the thing you start ends and you start something new. And that's okay. I think a lot of people don't understand that that's okay. But this year you launched Darren McKee Co.
Yeah.
It's so
great name.
Such an amazing name.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I'll just be honest with those that are listening. I never wanted to be like an entrepreneur. Like I didn't want to be a founder. I was going to work for a company for the rest of my life. And like, that's just my dad worked for the same company for 47 years. Like it was just in my DNA. And I was with 3 guys in Utah in November of 2022. And they were like, hey, you should start charging people to like coach them on social sales and Sales Navigator and founder led sales and like LinkedIn content. And I was like, God, there's so many better people than me at this. They were like, all right, you're not leaving until you launch something. So I made a post the next morning and like 12 people signed up. It's the most money I'd ever made in a day at that point in time. And I was like, wow, I can't believe people are actually willing to pay me for this thing. And the comments that I kept getting were like, dude, you gave us free stuff for 2.5 years. Of course, we're willing to pay you. At that point, my coaching was like $200 an hour and the cohort was $500. Now 1-to-1 is $1,500 an hour and the cohort is $1,500. And so like, it's just went up from there. But like, I was still running, a VP of sales running a business at Sky. And like, we had a lot going on. And so my primary focus was there, but I was like, all right, maybe I can coach people on Monday nights. So I would log in on Monday nights and 10 people would show up and then 20 and then 30 and then 50. And so I've done 11 months now of like 40 to 50 people on Monday nights, like joining in on these cohorts. And it wasn't until like September of this year where I was like, I wonder what would happen if I put 40 hours into this and not, 10 hours into this and 40 hours into my regular job. And so I did it and I was like, you know what, I'm going to put 30 hours in. So I worked late, worked lunches, and I had the biggest generating month of my life. And my wife looked at me and she was like, I told you. And, she's been telling me for a long time, like, hey, you need to go do this. You need to go do this. And I was like, I'm not ready. I don't know if I can do it. And fast forward, this is like my 3rd or 4th month and it keeps getting better. It's scary and terrifying. I've got 2 kids. So you're like, what about insurance? And I was like, I don't know. I'll just go make an extra $2,000. Right. Like, there's so many things that like, I thought I would be scared of, but now that I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I wasted a lot of time. But I don't think I would have been able to do it without my last job and actually getting us from 0 to $1 million in ARR and having like the understanding of what it means to run a business. And so, being a founder is fun. It is scary, but like, it's like, I don't know, if I don't want to have a meeting Monday, I don't have to have a meeting Monday, right? Like there's so much joy. If I want to go hunting with my kid on Tuesday morning and take him out of school, like nobody's going to tell me I can't. And those are the things that like, I never thought were possible for me. Like I barely graduated high school, dropped out of 3 colleges. There are parts of my life where like people would have put massive wagers that I would like never amount to like anything. And so, I mean, all of you can do this. I'm not special.
I think that you are special in the sense that you turned it into what you did and you did it so successfully and you shared it with so many people, which is inspiring. I know earlier you said, I don't know if I'm inspired. You are inspiring, Darren, just so you know. I'm sure plenty of people in the comments would agree. A lot of these people are your connections, not even mine. I mean, we're probably all connected, but they're your people. And I think that when you step into this founder journey, there's a lot of things people don't realize. I know you said like, insurance, I'll just go make another $2,000. I remember working for a company and something was going to cost extra. And I remember the CEO being like, so go sell this, like that costs it, go do this. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I definitely have that mentality in myself. But when it comes to being a founder, is there anything that you really weren't expecting that you're dealing with that people should maybe consider if they're thinking about taking this journey?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not one to like talk about mental health much on the platform. I go into the office every single day. I do not work from home. And I specifically do that so I can surround myself with other founders. Because there are things, I was just having a conversation at lunch with another founder and I was like, dude, I was up for 2 hours last night. He was like, what were you up for 2 hours last night? And I was like, I was thinking about taxes. And I was thinking about, other things that are going on in the business. And, he was like, well, let's talk about it. And so we sat here for, 30, 45 minutes talking about like, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen? What's probably going to happen? And so like, I don't think I realized like how lonely being a solo founder can be. So that's why I choose to wake up in the morning, take my kids to school, and come to the office every single day. People laugh at me and they're like, why are you doing that? That's, you're wasting money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm surrounded by like these people that are 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of me. And I can ask them whatever I want. Right. And so that's probably the one thing that I would tell you that like I didn't anticipate, but like also I've kind of figured out. Because like if I were to sit in my room at home and take my laptop home every day, like, so here's a quick hack. If you're a founder or you struggle with working too much, I don't take my computer charger home. So if my computer dies, my computer dies. And it is what it is. So like I can only work a couple hours at home. And so that's protected me a lot, over the years. So like those are things I just wasn't expecting.
I take it one step further because my computer charger is the same as my cell phone, and I just leave the computer.
That's
I
great.
can do most things from my cell phone, and if it is that important, the office is 15 minutes from my house. Realistically, I can go in. But 90% of things, like this is a computer. Why do I have to take my laptop home? I leave it at work. Sometimes that bites me. I'm not going to lie. It has bit me. I've definitely had to go back, or I've been super stressed or needed something. It has not always been perfect. But y'all, leaving it there and like really detaching, it's been a game changer. I also, this is a hack for founders from me, turn off notifications on your cell phone for your work emails.
None. I don't have them. It's such a hack.
Every time that notification comes, you're going to just stress about something. And like Darren was talking about a few minutes ago, like, oh, I'm worried about taxes. I'm worried about this. The other thing I want to tell you right now is worrying just makes you suffer twice.
Yeah.
You're going to suffer twice. You're going to worry about something now that's not even happening. And then you're going to have to deal with it later and have those emotions again. So stop. Focus on something good. Anytime I find myself really worrying, Darren, you're going to laugh at me. I will physically out loud say, stop it.
Yeah. Right.
I will out loud. Stop it. What are we going to think about?
Yeah. It's not going to help anything. And so I don't know, being a founder is awesome. Like, I think everybody should try it. I wanted to launch a year ago. Scott Leese called me and he said, hey, I think you should get something else to $1 million first. And also, I think you should match your salary 3 months in a row and then go. And I was like, okay, I got a lot of work to do. So got Sky to $1 million and matched my salary 3 months in a row and left.
And there you go. And it's been, and right now you feel like it's been the right decision. You're happy with the path you're on.
Great. Yeah. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I got to go back and work for a company. Like, I mean, that's
literally what I say too.
Yeah, like I would just go back and be an AE, right? Like, it's fine.
I have to go back and do this for someone else. That's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
The other cool thing, like I know on LinkedIn, start AE. I know your background is mailroom, right? Very far back mailroom. But I want to talk about the fact that a lot of people discredit that SDR AE role and what you can really do from that.
Oh, yeah.
Look at where Darren is now. Like he went from AE, senior AE, enterprise AE, whatever, VP of sales. Now he runs his own very successful company. And he literally teaches other very successful C-suite employees how to be better at this. And he started in sales.
Yeah. Sales is like the ultimate catalyst, y'all. Like, one of the things that I tried to do when I was like, so I was at a company called Insperity selling like HR payroll services. I was essentially an SDR with a weird title. And I would go into let me go back even further. I used to get in trouble when I was a kid because my mom would say I tell too many people hi. So I'd be like walking down the boardwalk in Myrtle Beach, like telling everyone hi. And she'd be like, you talk to strangers. I was like, there are no strangers. And so anytime I would go into a meeting, I would picture myself eventually working with this person, like for myself. And so it's so funny. Like if you go back and look at my recommendations on my LinkedIn profile, there are people that left recommendations when I was delivering mail at Ralph Lauren on Madison Avenue in New York City in 2013 that now I'm doing business with because they are now in C-suite roles. And they've watched what happened. They knew what I was making. They signed the contract. I was making $9 an hour in Manhattan. And I was there on time every day and I stayed late every day. And I checked in with every single person of influence that I'd ever interacted with over the last 13 years quarterly. Wow. Because I just want them to never forget who I am. So when I do need something, they respond. and they are responding now, and that's feels amazing.
That's a hack, y'all. Who are you connected with and who are you keeping up with? We keep up with our most recent connections a lot more than we keep up with people from our past. But there's also another reason that y'all should never burn a bridge.
Yeah.
When you become a founder and you're working for yourself, it's so easy to go sell people who like you, who you worked with. Don't you agree? When I have to reach out to somebody who likes me from a previous role, I'm like, oh, thank God. You want to work with me? Here's my contract. Sign it today.
It's so funny you say that, because like sometimes people will come to me and they're like, hey, no one's engaging with my content, not to go back to the content stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool, let me check. I go to that comment tabs and I'm like, yeah, because you're a jerk. And nobody wants to engage with you because like you think you're just speaking your mind, but your mind is wrong.
Right. It's me. Gotta be nice.
Yeah.
Gotta give and get.
Yeah. People are
all right. We have 2 more topics. This is the first show this year. We've had 5 topics, I think.
Let's do it.
The next one, we're going to talk about side hustles. I really think your job kind of was a side hustle before you made it your own thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about side hustles specifically for people who are still employed.
Yeah. I think yeah. No,
I was just going to say, I saw a post the other day from, I think it was Dan posted about an employee who came to him who wanted to start a side hustle, but his employer required that they tell them first for any work outside. And when he did that, they automatically started increasing his workload because apparently he had too much time to think about his side hustle. So for people who are employed and think about starting side hustles, what are all the things you got to think about?
Okay. So I have worked for companies that loved it. You know this. I have worked with companies that politely asked me to leave. And I was like, sounds great. My brand is way more important than what you do. And so I will tell you, if you are thinking about creating something that could have the potential of being something big, I'm not talking about bartending. I'm not talking about like other things that you just like to do that have nothing related to your job. That is your company. That has nothing to do with your business, right? And so if you're working for somebody that's weird about that, that's just a weird situation. But listen, I was working for a coaching company, and then I was like teaching people how to create content, kind of like training, coaching, right? And so like I had to be upfront, right? And so when I'm in my interview process, I'm like, hey, by the way, I have this other thing that generates revenue. Here's what it is. Here's what we do. Here's when I do it. Sometimes I respond to emails during the day, at lunch, in the morning, in the evenings. And it's something that I'm not willing to part ways with. And if you approach it like that, you're going to get a favorable response. Now, you might get a company that's like, hey, we don't agree with that. And you're like, okay, cool. I dodged a massive bullet here, and I don't want to work at this organization. And so, listen, like, if you're a leader on here and you have a team and your like side hustles are like, a disaster, I would tell you just to go to Google and type in companies that started as side hustles, and it's pretty much every company in the world. And so like, just realize what you're doing and kind of like stifling your employees' minds and brains to not think, outside the box in certain situations. There's a company on the West Coast that if you create a side hustle and you decide to leave, you give that employer the ability to invest in you. They have a fund specifically for their employees that launch side hustles because they've seen how they work. They know what they do. They know the impact that they can have. And like, it's called the Lattice Fund. And so like, it's important. But just like, don't try to hide it. That's never going to get you anywhere. Unless you work for a company that like doesn't love it, then totally hide it. But like, just be upfront about it, right? They're going to see it on your profile. Like, they're going to know. Don't be working 2 40-hour jobs, but like, do your thing. You never know what could happen. If I would have listened to one person in specific, I would never have had this business.
Right. You really also, at the end of the day, you have to believe and bet on yourself, I think. And taking that leap was one of the hardest things for me. The first 2 businesses I started were side hustles, right? I was working a 40-hour job. I was starting companies. I had a hashtag printing company when Instagram was first getting popular, right? So we'd go to corporate events and weddings and set up a hashtag printer. You could be anywhere in the event, print your photo. It was like this revolutionary thing, y'all. Then Instagram turned into a video platform. What do you do with that business? Nothing. Exactly. But it was something that I never really was willing to like walk away from my job for and never put in that effort. And it ultimately died. I probably could have pivoted. I probably could have changed that business, but I never believed enough that this was the thing that I really was willing to believe in myself and go all in. Now, I don't think I made the wrong decision. I think at the end of the day, I ended up where I'm supposed to be. And I am really passionate about what I do now. And like we are talking about your role, everything is sales. Also, Darren said that earlier. I want to talk about that in just a second. Everybody does sales. Everything is sales, whether you're in marketing, you're in engineering, whatever you think you do, you're selling every day. But when you find the thing that you really are passionate about and you really do believe in yourself, you have to be willing to make that step. And I know Darren talked about mental health and all of those things. And I will say that when you get to the point where you're going to go off on your own, and if it gets to the point where it's stressful for you, please, I'm the biggest advocate. Go to therapy, find somebody to talk to, go to your mentors, talk to other people who have done this, because they will not only give you guidance and advice, but they will help you know that you are on the right path. Sometimes you do need a little bit of encouragement. And like Darren said, when you do become a solo founder, if your side hustle takes off, you're going to be lonelier than you thought. You're going to end up having days where you need someone to talk to. So having mentors, having those people, like Darren said, keeping up with leaders, keeping up with people. I know having Scott Lee's probably an amazing connection for you and resource. Those people matter.
Yeah. I mean, and the cool thing about this too, like if you manage people and you're listening here, I will never forget it. I was in New York and I told Jess, who is my boss, I said, hey, I think it's time. And she said, I think it's time too. And I will do whatever in my power to make sure that you are successful in this business. She has checked in. She has texted me. She has called me. Like those are the leaders that you want to be associated with. And so it's so powerful when you can like instill psychological safety in the team like that. So it's cool. Side hustles are great. Just do them the right way and don't try to be sleazy.
Yeah, you don't have to be sleazy. And if the company is not fully in it, they're probably not the company you want to work for if your side hustle is really something you're invested in.
Yeah.
And if it's not if it's not something you're really invested in, then think about that, because your paycheck matters too.
Yeah. And if they don't like it and you're not going to be there a long time, just take their money for as long as you can and build it on the side as long as you can.
There you go. You heard it here first. No, I think a lot of people have said that before. But y'all, don't just quit the paycheck. Keep getting that paycheck as long as you can.
Amen.
Bills have to be paid. Last topic of the day. Darren is the GOAT at this. Social selling. I learned how to do this from you. I still save your post. I think I DM you like once a quarter. Hey, I can't find this post. And immediately you just drop it right back to me. But I've gotten so many business deals and just things from following your content, and really just made some awesome connections with people that will probably turn into business deals later, right? Yeah. But this whole social selling and the idea of it, I think that even though we've been talking about it for years, but I think some people are still like very hung up on how to do it the right way, and they've brought way too much AI into their process.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think when I think of social selling, right, I think it's uncovering relationships and revenue that you never knew existed. That's my tagline that I use in pretty much everything. And so one of the things that I think about though is, how can my content and my action work for me when I'm not working? So when I'm sleeping and my content is still getting impressions, is it generating revenue? And so that's how I think about content. But there are a couple of things I want to leave you with. Like if you do this, like your entire life will change. If you DM the people that look at your profile and you tell them, thank you for stopping by. I did it 4 times today. And if it's simply like, hey, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. You will get responses from all 4 of those people. They will see your content tomorrow morning. They will start to get to know you as a person, as a business person. And then when they have a need in social selling, they will call you. Okay. When you see their post or when you see something interesting on LinkedIn, drop a comment. Not a dumb one, not an AI one, not a nice post, but like something that's like pretty thoughtful, right? Do that 15 to 20 times a day. I'm not telling you to do it 100 times a day, right? if you happen to see a second degree connection or a first degree connection comment on your post that hasn't done it in a while, tell them thank you. Send them a DM, say, hey, thanks so much for engaging today. Guess what they're going to do tomorrow? They're going to engage again. And then you're going to see their stuff. And then there's going to be this level of trust, right? And so like that's social selling in a nutshell, right? Like it's not hard. It's like respond to your profile views, reach out to the people that engage with you, send them DMs. It's not rocket science, right? I did this the other day with a huge training sales team, and they were like, hey, my buyers aren't on LinkedIn. I was like, all right, cool. Like, who are they? And they were like, chief CISOs and manufacturing. And I was like, oh, great. Thanks for giving me this one. And so I went in and I typed in like 10 like huge manufacturing companies, and I typed in CISO in the search bar in Sales Navigator. 7 out of 10 of those that I found had shared content in the last 30 days. Guess how many of those people had engaged with their content? 0. Guess how many comments that those people had on their posts? 0. So like, I'm like, it's equivalent to you sitting in a coffee shop and the CISO of Johnson Controls walks in the room and he's got his name tag on or her name tag on, and you don't say anything. That's what you're doing by not doing this simple like 2-minute action. In Sales Navigator, there's a little feature that says posted in the last 30 days. It tells you who's active. All you have to do is drop a good comment, follow them, connect with them, give them good ICP related content, and you're going to get meetings. It's like, I never have to worry about meetings. And that's social selling. Like if you like, literally, you don't have to sign up for anything I ever do. If you just do that, like 30 days from now, you'll be like, holy crap, my life is completely different.
Yeah. And I want to say this is separate from you sending your 50 DMs, you doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, sometimes we'll load those in there, but yeah.
So you said your 50 DMs could take you upwards of 2 hours if you're really doing all 50 and you're doing it right, right? How long do you really spend doing this part of the job, the social selling, the responding to people because let's be honest, you have a lot of followers and I'm sure you get a lot more profile views than most people.
Yeah.
How much time are you spending doing that?
So I get a lot of profile views and 90% of them aren't of interest to me. Right? And so it's like, I look for ICP related people that can buy from me. But then I also go one step further and I'm like, are they even active? Because like what I want all of you to think about, and I think Lauren probably feels this way too. I so wish I wouldn't have connected with so many people in my early days. You only get this is going to sound crazy, but you only get 30,000 connections. I'm going to run out soon. I'm not going to be able to connect with people. I'm going to have to disconnect with a bunch of people. So like, are they active? Are they in my ICP? And like, are they of interest to me? I have 4,000 pending invites right now.
Yeah.
And like, I only accept those ones that like might buy from me or look like I can learn from, or they're just like really active. I want active people.
I love people who are engaging and say, hey, I've sent you a DM. I want to connect with you. Like, yeah, I'm going to connect with you all day long. You just engage with my content. You told me that. The thing I want to say about what Darren said a minute ago is like the C-suite sitting in the coffee shop with their name tag on. People post content because they want engagement. They want people to look at their page. They want people to respond. Nobody wants to post something and get 0 comments. Nobody wants to post something and get 0 likes. Nobody wants that. Yeah. So you are literally helping them get that dopamine hit they want anyway of, oh, look, somebody clicked on my profile. Gregory wants to know, what do you mean as active?
Okay. So by active, I have like 3 different things, right? So I think, have they created content? That's like the holy grail, right? Are they actually creating? That means that they're on there. If they're not creating, you can click the little comment tab and see if they're actually like commenting on other people's posts. A lot of people don't post, but they comment a lot. That is active to me. Additionally, right? Like I can look to see like, are they following a company? Are they following me? Do I have second degree connections? If I have second degree connections, that means they're accepting something. So they're on the platform. And then every once in a while, LinkedIn's a little glitchy with this. You can see if they're solid green or light or half green. So like green meaning they're active on desktop, and then half circle mean they're active on their phone. Some people have that toggled off, so it's hard to see, but that's what I define by active. And then there are a lot of people that are like Never comment, never post, but are here.
Do you ever DM someone and say, "Hey, I noticed you were active"?
I've said, hey, I know that you're like online.
I have to. I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Jody wants to know, if someone only comments but doesn't post, would you comment on their comment?
I don't. I might like it if it's really good. I don't comment on it back. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Marissa says, this is what no one tells you when you join LinkedIn. It is important to know who your ICP is.
Mm.
Yes. And I will say one thing about knowing your ICP and social selling is, if you are on the job market, not every recruiter is your ICP. The recruiters who hire for what you want to do are your ICP. Like, yes, you should connect with them. But if you are in manufacturing and you are reaching out to sales recruiters, that is the wrong recruiter for you. So take a minute and look into that too, because as a job seeker, you don't really think about that. And you're like, oh, it's a recruiter. And I get that. But reach out to the right recruiters. Because like Darren said, you only get so many connections. You only get so many opportunities. And maybe you have plenty, but maybe that person you're reaching out to doesn't. So make sure that, like Darren said, do I have the right to send this email? Do I have the right to do this? Are you the right person to be connecting with this person? Does it really matter in the long run? Is it going to benefit you both? I've been to the point where I have 2,000 pending connections. I'm trying to get through them, and I'm replying to people and I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. I can't connect. I can't accept your connection, but I'd love to follow you and be engaged. Like, and not everyone, but some of them that I think I could help in job searches or whatnot, but I can't accept you as a first degree connection because I'm not close to 30. I mean, I think I'm at 20, but that's a lot. It's a lot. And I know that those other 10,000 will go quick.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed you're active. Yes, we did.
Poke. Yeah.
What is a second degree connection? I heard about it, but I can't understand. So a second degree,
Yeah,
you got it?
I don't care. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, you can go.
It's just someone that one of your connections is connected to. So if I was not connected to someone, but they were connected to Darren, they would show up as my second degree connection because I am connected to somebody who is connected to that person. If it is a third degree connection, you are not connected, right? Like it's 3 steps away and you can't find it. And if it just says LinkedIn member, you're more than 3 steps away and you can't see that profile at all. You have to be 3 steps away to see a profile, correct?
Yeah, or they just have it blocked, right? Like,
they have it blocked.
Third degrees are rare at this point. But yeah, second degrees, like, I mean, second degrees are like prime for you to go connect with. Like, there's commonality there. So I know we only got a couple minutes. And I want to be respectful of your time.
I know. I want to be respectful of yours too. Thank you for joining me and spending this hour. Okay, y'all, last chance if you want to comment #Sendoso for the giveaway. We're not going to do any more questions today. Thank you for asking all your questions. Darren, did you think of a fun Friday fact?
A fun Friday fact? Well, I said a lot of them. I guess I barely graduated high school. I'm from a little tiny town called Victoria, Texas. And what else?
Okay, I have a question that you can answer for your fact.
Yeah.
You like to go hunting, and your kid is hunting, right?
Yeah.
Right. What's the first thing your kid ever got?
Yeah, we bird hunt a lot. And so next year he's getting into archery. So I guess I spend a lot of time at archery practice with my kids. So weird fact, but yeah, I guess me and my wife have moved 7 times in 12 years, 7 different cities.
That's a lot, y'all. Yeah. I've not moved that much. I've been in Florida my whole life. Okay, we're going to do the giveaway right now. Are you ready? We had 11 entries. Who's it going to be? Jody, Andrew, Melissa. I don't know. Oh, my mom is in there. Maybe my mom will get a rocks glass. Andrew Gibbs with the cowboy hat. Look at that. Darren, you called it with that hat before. Y'all, this was fun. Darren, any final words for the people?
No. You're one profile view away from your whole life changing.
Exactly. Post, be consistent, show up for others like you want them to show up for you. Y'all, happy Friday. You know what I always say? If you didn't like it, don't come back.